This is part 4 of my series on the NREVSD School Levy. Today, I'm going to show you something that the board probably didn't want you to notice. According to their own financial reduction plan filed with the state of Ohio, this levy does not solve the problem. Even if it passes, even with teacher cuts, even when it's fully implemented and bringing in maximum revenue, we're still going to be in a crisis by year 4, and there's a reason for that, and I'm going to show you what that reason is. In February 2025, the school district filed a 36-page financial reduction plan with the Ohio Department of Education. It's required when districts show signs of financial trouble. It's public record. Anyone can read it, and so I did. And what it reveals looks less like a recovery plan and more like a strategy to survive on paper. And here's how the levy works. It phases in over 3 years. Year 1, about $307,000. In year 2, it ramps up. And by year 3, they're collecting the full $5.2 million, and that continues every year after. Keep that 3-year timeline in mind because what happens next fits a little too perfectly. This chart is straight from their financial reduction plan. It shows what happens if the levy passes and after they cut 10 teaching positions, and here are the fund balances year by year. Fiscal year 2025, positive $9.9 million. Fiscal year 2026, $6.3 million. Fiscal year 2027, $1.7 million. Fiscal year 2028, negative $3.7 million. Fiscal year 2029, negative $10.7 million. By year 4, when the levy is bringing in the full $5.2 million every year, we're already back in the red. And by year 5, the deficit nearly triples. Deficits eliminated? No. 3 years of green ink, then collapse. And why exactly 3 years? And here's why. The levy doesn't fix the problem. It just delays it. The built-in overspending keeps growing faster than the new revenue coming in. So even at full strength, $5.2 million every single year, the levy can't keep up. In fact, once it's fully phased in, the deficits don't just return, they accelerate. Between 2028 and 2029, the deficit more than doubles, growing by almost $7 million in a single year. That is not recovery. That is a collapse on delay. It looks like progress in years 1 through 3 because they're burning through cash reserves. By year 4, those reserves are gone and the deficit comes screaming back. And that 3-year timeline, I don't think that's accidental. The school district is under fiscal caution, which is state oversight triggered by financial mismanagement. And according to the Ohio Department of Education's own website, quote, a district in fiscal caution cannot be released in the same fiscal year in which the declaration was made. A district may be released from fiscal caution the following fiscal year if the department determines that the corrective actions have been or are being implemented. So if a district can look stable for a few years, it can be released from oversight. Now go back to the chart. Years 1 through 3, positive balances. See, we're improving. Years 4 and 5, deep deficits, but by then they've already met the criteria for release. It creates the appearance of stability just long enough to get off the watch list, and that is not solving the problem. It is just running out the clock on state oversight. This levy is a Band-Aid, and it's not even a good one. It hides the wound just long enough for the district to claim they're healing before the bleeding starts again, and that's exactly what this plan shows. If you vote yes on this levy, you'll pay 1.25% on your earned income, about $1,000 a year if you make $80,000. 10 teachers will lose their jobs, an elementary school will likely close, and in 3 to 4 years, we're right back here, another levy or a state takeover, because this plan was never designed to fix the deficit. It was designed to look fixed just long enough to satisfy state requirements. So here's the question every voter should be asking. Why approve a tax that their own projections show won't work? If $5.2 million a year doesn't fix it, what will? They knew these numbers when they filed the report. They knew it collapses in 4 years, and they're still asking you to approve it anyway. The board might say these are just projections and things could change, but the Department of Education requires realistic assumptions, not optimistic guesses. They have two options. Either these projections are accurate and they know the levy fails by year 4, or they're inaccurate, which means they filed misleading information with the state. They can't have it both ways. And either way, this plan does not justify a new tax. The financial reduction plan is public record, and so is the state's fiscal caution policy. You can read both of them yourself. Before you vote, you should ask yourself, are you funding a real solution, or is this a temporary bailout? Because the levy doesn't fix the system, it props it up long enough to avoid oversight, and then it collapses again. And that's not supporting education, that's financing a 3-year escape plan. And according to their own projections, exactly 3 years of stability before collapse. Is that a coincidence? I'll let you decide. This is Tobias Lavely from NR Watch, and Part 5 will be coming soon.